I'm Nicolas Abboud. I'm half Swedish, half Lebanese, who grew up in France. I'm the lucky or fortunate owner of this most extreme Manthey Racing 996 street legal car. It was a huge project that involved the entire team of Manthey Racing and Olaf himself. We were able to take out a 4.2 litre, 523 horsepower, 460 Newton meter on a dyno, a car that weighs 1,210 kilos dry, with all the parts in carbon and Kevlar. The entire suspension as a racing suspension. So it's a car that is extremely fast. It's important to know that this project was approved by Porsche, since Manthey is owned by Porsche at 51%. And the car, the engine block, which is a specific engine block, received the authorization for matching number. So it is the only matching number official 4.2 litre 996 in the world. I love cars since I'm a kid. I've been completely passionate about cars, and what gives me the biggest pleasure in cars is driving on tracks. There's nothing that gives me a higher feel than doing a good heel and toe, especially going and touching the brake on a big curve to just transfer a bit of weight. It's for me the best feeling. That's why I like gearboxes. I cannot take the automatic or the double sequential gearboxes. So I've had Porsches for a very long time, not necessarily because I'm a Porsche addict, but because it's the most efficient car to take on the track. It's a scalpel when you drive it well, and it's really rewarding. There's a real challenge to drive it fast, so it's very rewarding when you do it well. I own a GT3 Club Sport 996. That was my first car on the track. And then I bought a 997 GT3 RS 4 litre, which I have at home. And I tried for 3 days a 991 GT3 RS, but I gave it back. I did not like it, and it wasn't analog, and there was too much things happening. The car was very fast, very efficient, but I did not get the driving pleasure. And the more I've been going through the generations, the more I come back to my experience with the 996 GT3 Club Sport, which is for me still the MK2 version, is still the car that gives me the most ultimate driving pleasure on the track. More than a 997 and more than a 991. So I decided, instead of putting 200,000 euros in a 991, I said, okay, I'll go crazy. I put that amount of money to do the most incredible 996 driving car for the everyday, but which is a killer on the track. And I wanted a car that gives me this ultimate driving pleasure, and which is a killer for all generations of other 991s, 997, the GT3 RS. So I went to see Olaf because I've been with Manthey on other cars, and I know Manthey Racing are really something else in terms of Porsche and preparation of Porsches. So I told him about my project. The team at Manthey really loved it. It has been a long time since they did an extreme car, especially on a 996, and 996 is one of Olaf's preferred car also. So they went all in. They spent 9 months on this project. It took the whole team. Olaf was implicated himself in it, and it resulted in a car which is very special and very close to my heart. So it is a 996 GT3 Club Sport. The first thing we did was on the engine. So the engine is a 4.2 litre. It's every part. So the engine block, the pistons, crankshaft, valves. We started from the 4.4 litre racing engine, which is about 560 horsepower, and we detuned it. The engine was 523 horsepower on the dyno. Other wheels at 6,680 RPM. The torque is 416 Newton meter, and so we have the same torque as the new 991 GT3 RS, but we have about 30 horsepower more on the dyno, because the 991s are closer to 490 horsepower than 500 horsepower. The other priority was to reduce weight and to make it really lightweight, but at the same time a car which has still AC and which from the inside and from the outside looks as stock as possible. I didn't want it to be very visible, I wanted it to be discreet. So what we did on that is, the first thing is the suspension. So the suspension is the KW 3-way full adjustable on ball bearings from Manthey Racing. So the same suspension is used on the 997R, so the racing ones. We save about 11.9 kilos just on the suspension. The rims are the famous BBS, so I wanted to have a clin d'oeil to the racing cars. So we went for the very lightweight BBS E88 steel racing brakes and pads from Manthey Racing also. I prefer steel. I had the ceramics, aside from the fact that they don't last long. It's all or nothing. Then on the chassis, so we have the back in visible carbon, the roof in visible carbon, the hood in visible carbon, the two fenders in composite plastic, the window in the back and the window on the sides is in Macrolon. The windows on the side is in glass for the day use, but it's 2 mm less thick, so there's 1.2 kilo saved just on the two side windshields. The front windshield is also a thinner windshield, which is 1.6 kilo lighter. So we really went all the way. The acoustics was removed and replaced by a very lightweight acoustic. In total, we managed to save the doors. The doors are the most incredible things, because what you find on the market are carbon doors coming from that are used for the cups, but they're not very nice in finish, and they still weigh, they still have some weight. So these doors were special made in Kevlar, and they weigh 3.4 kilos. So there's 17 kilos saved on each side. So in terms of weight, it's dry 1,210 kilos. It weighs even less than a cup, with still some of the air conditioning and some of the finish inside. It's a car for me that gives me enormous pleasure. It's fast, it's fully analog. I even have I drive without the ABS. I have a cutter for the ABS. If something goes wrong, it's my mistake. It's not the car, and there's a battle with the car. It's really interesting. And today we were driving. It's my first time at Spa, and I must say I'm amazed by all the organization that RSR is doing here. It's really fantastic. It was my first time with this car on the track, on a big track. First time at Spa. Luckily, nice weather, and we've been driving, and I'm really enjoying it. And I had an instructor with me, Alan, and he even thought it was a GT2. There was so much power in the car that he, for the first day, thought it was a GT2. So it was fun.